Coming to you live from Merida, Mexico. Arriba!
Welcome to Travelpreneurship, the fifth show on how travel and entrepreneurship work hand in hand. Our goal with this show is to introduce you to people who have found success while traveling and give you the courage to be bold, and live an adventurous life.
Which is exactly what today's guest is doing. Ronnie Teja is a successful e-commerce entrepreneur, the founder of Brandzio, an online watch brand which makes over 25,000 US dollars per month. In this interview, he shares his success story, the secret to finding the winning e-commerce product, and the tools he uses to operate his business from anywhere around the world. A team of 10 people, no less. Enjoy. Okay, Ronnie, Teja, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Pleasure's all mine. Thank you.
Yeah, so we'll just jump right into it, okay? So you're running a successful business, online e-commerce business with 10 employees spread across the globe, from my understanding. Making well over 25,000 a month from what I get from reading up your articles online. Can you tell me, how did you build this business in today's day and age?
Yeah. So I was kind of lucky that when I started, there was less competition in the e-commerce space. Mm-hmm. And then Shopify at that point in time was just like, it was a brand new launch. So when I started, China and sourcing from China was still sort of a mystery. I mean, it was still sort of a myth. Right now, today you have services like Oberlo, you have services like, the local Vancouver startup called Spocket, where you can actually like go and order this stuff online and just go and get your products. But when I was starting out, it was the nuts and bolts of it. So I had to look for people through Alibaba, go order through AliExpress, get it shipped, do a design, see what everything looks like, see how the whole process of sourcing actually came through, which was like, this is my design, this is what I want. And the Chinese supplier sends you something in an e-packet, and the design never matches what you want it to be. So it's kind of an interesting facet where, the Chinese factories at that point of time that I was dealing with were also not as sophisticated in the way they were actually communicating with the customer. I think that whole facet has changed to what it is today, in the sense that they have a lot more English-speaking employees. They have a very global focused outlook. 6 years down the line, I believe that enhancements on Shopify and Amazon and next day delivery on these platforms is something that customers actually look forward to. So I think if you were to start a business today, would be like the best time to start it, rather than what it was for us. So it's like it's a whole different facet. I mean, it's more competitive, but having said that, I mean, if you have the will and if you have the drive, I mean, a good example of it is guys from Movement. They entered the watch industry. They completely disrupted it in 2013. That you would be able to change the facet of things.
What's your day-to-day look like today? So you started 6 years ago, but now you're running this e-commerce empire. What's your day look like?
My day-to-day starts. Okay, I mean, I don't put out fires as much as I used to. So having like a stable website and having a stable platform with guys at Shopify kind of helps us out a lot, because the website uptime is almost 98-99%. There's once in a while we do have problems with it, but it's minor. So that's one piece of my life and puzzle and the stress that is actually taken out. So most of my life right now is focused on creating an enhanced customer experience. So when a customer comes to a website, what does the touch point look like? When they're visiting a website, does it look like, what is the experience that we're giving them? Right from the part that they open the customer chat channel, to the time that they order, till the time that they're getting their order, till the time that they receive their order. What does that aspect look like? What does it look like when they open the box? When they're opening the box, we want the customer to feel that the watch box or the watch itself is super heavy, so they feel like, it's a little more expensive, it's a little more luxurious. So what we found through a research, believe it or not, was the weight of a watch and how much it weighs corresponds with how expensive people think it is. It's kind of funny. So like a normal watch, like even like a I don't know like a Breitling, should not weigh that much. but people purposely make it way heavier because people think that if the watch is heavier, it has, the weight is what makes it more expensive.
They just load it up with lead.
Yeah. So we experiment with stuff like that. So that's the stuff like I work on. Of course, a part of my job is still sourcing and working on product launches. So for example, I'm going to Thailand, like I mentioned, and then I'm going to be at the Canton Fair mid-October, and we're planning, our summer launch already, sourcing for it this year. So going and meeting with suppliers and everything else. So that's what my day-to-day is. I don't limit myself. Don't take part in chatting with customers, but once in a while it won't be out of my league to like go and chat to a customer on the phone or have an open live chat with them just to understand what the customer experience is, right? My job is to make sure that the customers are getting the best possible experience they can. We can't compete with guys like Amazon on pricing, but what we can compete with our competitors is giving our customers the best possible experience they can, being the customer at Brand Zero Watches.
Yeah. Deliver the best, beautiful experience for your customer. It would be the main goal when you deal with them.
Yeah, of course. I think best in class customer service, right? Best in class customer touch points that we can actually give to customers. Yeah, definitely agree on that.
Yeah. So I will speak from my one personal story. Myself, I was trying to build few e-commerce online. Okay, the last one was kind of successful. I made one sale.
Yeah.
But I want to know, I want to know, how did you know that the watch was the right product? For me, the toughest part, it was what will be the right product to sell? What was the in trend,
Yeah, okay. So that's interesting. So, it depends on the product to product. So before you launch, so if I were to say, go to ground zero today and say, okay, what do I want to test and what do I want to know? Mm-hmm. The best thing I can do is there's a few tools out there that you can look at. So there's something called Amazon Pathfinder that actually tells you the rank of certain products that sell on Amazon. And you can actually look at that stat. So it's called AMZ Pathfinder. So what you can do is if you want to open an Amazon store tomorrow, you can actually go to Amazon and you can actually look at the top selling products that in particular categories looking at this tool. So this tool gives you all that information. So you take the information from the tool and say, okay, these are the top selling products for this season or for this particular date range. And, then you just start experimenting on it. So, most people say, is a method that dropshippers use, which is you create a campaign on Facebook, you put $5 into a campaign, and then you can actually just test out a product. So $5 a day per ad set, in this case per product, and you can put it out to an audience, and then you can see what the audience is actually clicking on the most, right? So for example, fashion, for example, is a very highly competitive space. So stuff that's very interesting is really like fashion or clothing or watches is super competitive, right? But the thing is also the margins on the products in these particular industries is also very large. So for example, for fashion, it's like almost 1,000%. For watches, it's about 200 to 300%. For
saturated, definitely,
necklaces or rings. Or things like that, it's almost 1,000%. So what you do is you take, you can test out different ad sets and see what is it against what audiences you're hitting the best. And initially, you know what, I won't be too far from saying you should try and drop ship your product if you don't want to take as much risk. And the thought process behind it is you don't need a lot of stock for the inventory. You can take somebody else's inventory and then you can restock it and sell it. So like there's a Shopify app called Overload. And Overload actually helps you dropship products globally. So start on Overload, find your niche, find what hits the best, and then when you find out that one product that is selling the most, then you take it and then you go and find suppliers for it in China or Africa or India or wherever, and then you private label it. So you're taking somebody else's product and then you're just private labeling it and selling it as your own, and then you're creating a brand. So
if I understand correctly, Ronnie, the first step will be to create an online store, drop shipping, to test the product, and after go to the source to find the right supplier.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, you have all the data, right? Then you have all the sales data. So like a good example that I can say to you is, if you look at Amazon, and Amazon basically has all the sales data of all the people who sell on it, right? And what Amazon does is, it actually looks at all the sales data of all the products, and it knows what is the best selling product products. Then when they find out what the best selling products are, they go and make Amazon basics out of it, and then they sell it to you, and they make a lot more profit. So the same concept for the drop shipping store is you take all the, you pick a niche, and then you see all the products that you're selling, but you'll always have the top 2 or 3 selling products. But you take those 2, 3 top selling products, then you go and source those and private label them and make a brand out of it, because you have all the sales data that tells you that these 2 or 3 products will sell the best for you. So
okay, just one other question. The
that's what I would recommend.
Thank you. The project will be in the same category. For example, if you need to pick 3 projects, it will be in the same category. Watches.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I read that a big part of your success was laid in actually going to the source, like going directly to China, finding a good supplier there, and then most importantly, establishing a strong brand. Like you said yourself, the watch is a very competitive space. So how does someone stand out and build this brand?
What is your secret recipe?
Well, yeah, I mean, look, there's a couple of things. My secret of success, my recipe, there's no recipe, man.
Please.
I think, like I said, so the first thing is, like I mentioned in a few places before, I had the experience of like these e-packets, which I think was a total waste of time. So I wasted 6 months and a designer and about $3,000 or $4,000 just trying to like source these products, which wasn't really working out. Whereas my ticket to Hong Kong from Vancouver was probably like $800, and the world's biggest watch fair happens in Hong Kong at this Global Sources event, and I had the opportunity to actually just go there. So I flew there and I met up with the people at the sourcing booths, and I was able to shortlist them by having certain conversations, right? So a conversation would be is the factory production, getting people who they already produce for, who do they work with right now, who are these. Can I talk to some of the customer testimonials, for example, right? It's like, those guys are also there, so I can just go talk. So for the watch factory we chose, they were manufacturing 150,000 watches for this Austrian guy. So I actually met him there. We went out for dinner and we talked about the factory, and everything was good. The factory wasn't there. They didn't know I'd approached this guy. So that was one way of doing it, right? Another thing of like when you talk about building a brand is, I think most of the way that people look at e-commerce these days is they want to open a store, and they want to make money as quickly as possible, and they want to shut the store. So we are making money now, but for the first 6 months, we didn't make any money. It was just money flowing out of my pocket. When you have the mentality to build a brand, you need to be able to look at things in a long-term vision. So have a 5-year goal, have a 10-year goal. Of course, you want to be profitable. So a 30 to 60-day goal would be great for you to make some money. But I mean, you should grow your team as you're growing your business. You shouldn't like just, have like a massive team from the get-go. I mean, when I started, it was me. I was customer service. I was doing all the Facebook ads and advertising, all the AdWords. I did everything. So I didn't hire my first employee till I think a year in.
Yeah. How did you survive that first 6 month stretch? I mean, for a lot of people, that'd be a lot of time. So were you doing was this like a side hustle that you kept alive with like a main job, or how was that process? What?
Well, yeah. I mean, well, look, I was a big, I've been a pretty big personality in general. So even at work or something. So it's kind of interesting in the sense that, at that point in time, there was no turning back for me. If I wanted to go somewhere, I wasn't going to turn back. I said, if I have to, I'm going to give this an honest shot. I'm going to give this a serious shot. And what it means is that when I stepped into being an entrepreneur, trying to start my own business, I'd given myself a one year, like a leeway. What that means is, for 1 year, I'm going to give it all I have. It was either till I went bust, till I ran out of all the money, and start all over again, or till everything collapsed. I mean, I did have a nervous background like in the first 4 months, because I was working, I think, about 16, 17 hour days, and then I got help from a friend who was an entrepreneur for like 10 years, and then he actually helped me out in hiring and outsourcing some parts of my job, which was the customer service mainly. So that actually helped out.
Thank you. You mentioned a few times that you need to have a long-term vision, but how did you handle how did you go through the journey? How did you handle the obstacles coming your way?
Oh, that's an interesting one. So nobody gives you a job description for being an entrepreneur.
Exactly.
Right? So there's no such thing as, oh, today I will wake up and I will do this, and today I will wake up and I will do this. No, so there's no such thing. So initially, I think it was, for me, it was, oh my God, what do I do? And I need to stress out. And, oh my God, I can't handle it. What the hell's going on?
Yeah.
And then
we feel the same sometimes.
Yeah, so it's, you don't know, right? There's always a fire to put out. The difference is you just have to mentally, or you have to evaluate what is critical. So you have to have a system. What is business critical? What is going to affect your bottom line? Like, for example, not having a website, for sure, my business is dead. So that's business critical. And then, just going down the line. In terms of like, initially, what was something that was quite extensive for me was people management, right? So it was like, oh man, managing so many people, and I hadn't managed before, and having team management and all that, I wasn't really good at it. But I said, maybe I don't want to manage a big team. So I hired a operations person who was actually better at managing people than I was. And, I said, oh, can you please take this over, because delegate the duty to them. And they said, take it over. But to have the focus, of prioritization, I think is super important when you're running a business, step 1, 2, 3, 4, like what is business critical to what is not. So.
Currently, from my understanding, you run a team of 10 people remotely. How does one run a team of 10 people remotely? How did you build that structure, those foundations to be able to do that today?
Yeah, we hire people who value freedom more than anything else in their life. So what that essentially means is people who are very self-driven, people who don't need a lot of management, and most importantly, people who value the very basis of being able to work remotely. So so some people say, for example, so there's a guy, for example, I met at my squash club the other day, who's a programmer for 20 years, and he's excellent in programming, right? I mean, amazing at it. But he's working at a job here in Vancouver from 9 to 5, and he says it's killing me. He says it kills him inside to go to an office from 9 to 5. He does not want to live in Vancouver. Man, the weather in Vancouver sucks in the winter. It's a beautiful city, but in the winter, it's like gray every day, and it's it's dark out by 4 p.m. You go to the office at 9 a.m. It's dark. You come back and it's dark. So it kind of sucks. So he, for example, would give an arm and a leg to go work in Chiang Mai because he loves Chiang Mai talent, right? Those are the kind of people that we look for. And the employee of tomorrow does not need an office to work. You could be working anywhere you like, in whatever freedom you want. I mean, we give our employees the opportunity to do so. We treat them like adults, and we expect loyalty and us being treated in the same way in return. There have been, of course, instances where people don't follow that protocol. So we actually have, for some of most of our employees, a software called HubStuff, which actually measures your computer and what you're doing, and if you're browsing just social media sites all day long are you on Facebook and Instagram or YouTube or watching videos, or are you actually like working? So it actually detects your activity rate. It actually tells people that you're working. It actually tells people like, oh, I have done A, B, C, D. So we have checks and balances in place because we have gone the route of saying, okay, I trust you, you're an adult, and we also have gone the route of saying, we must have something in the middle that actually helps both people out. So this is what we found that has worked out for us.
Okay, and I'm guessing, or I imagine that a problem with the working remotely might be retaining employees. Is that a struggle for you, or no?
No, we actually have not had any issues. I mean, the last person who left my company was about 3 years ago, and the person who left this lady who had to leave, she left for maternity leave. So we actually our retention ratio is pretty high. So we did have a designer who left us recently, but that was not an employee; it was a contractor. So the amount of people who leave our company as full-time employees is like I said, one person left in 3 years, and that the person who left our company actually came back to work for us as a contractor.
Wow, that's fascinating. I wouldn't have known that had I not asked.
Yeah, it is, man. It's kind of, I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of weird, man. It's like we as humans, we crave freedom, and to be able to say make half the money that you are in, say, Canadian dollars, and to be able or euros or US dollars, and to be able to go and live in like a Bali or like a Southeast Asia or Vietnam or somewhere, and to be able to make that sort of spend on a higher level with compared to what you were making back home, and having a better life, I think is not bad. I mean, that's what most people should be doing.
So last question. If you were to start from scratch today, Ronnie, what you will need to get your business out of the ground?
If I were to start from scratch, what would I need? Oh,
Yeah.
man. Number one, I need some startup capital, man. I need some savings. It's like starting a business is much cheaper than it was 10 years ago. I'll tell you that. So, with all the drop shippers you have out there, your sourcing is done. A platform like Shopify costs you like $79.99 a month. You don't even need a developer to start. So it's quite cheap in that sense. So I'd say you should have at least between $5,000 and $10,000 in savings.
Okay.
Right? If you should try and look for like a side school hustle if you can. So if you are working like a full-time job or something, I think it makes sense for you to start something and test on the side. And if you can see things picking up, then I think you have a winner, right? You have a winner in the sense that you can, at the end of the day, start your site, start selling small. But if you can see the business increase, then it gives you all the power to quit your job and go travel the world and work remotely and all that other stuff. So I think it's very interesting for you to do so. Hiring employees is quite easy through Upwork. You can go to Upwork and hire a VA for like $4.99 if you want tomorrow. If you want people to upload your products or hire somebody as a graphic designer, you can find somebody in the Philippines or Kenya or Nigeria if you want. So all the world is pretty accessible to you in general, right? It's like all these platforms that are there to help accelerate e-commerce, or it's there to accelerate your entrepreneurial ideas. But compared to what most people say, there's less and less people who are taking a chance to be an entrepreneur because they're scared. So to be scared isn't the right thing to say. I think you should look at it as you should be taking a chance on yourself. You're taking a chance on yourself as a person, and you're taking a chance on yourself as an individual. It's like, what if? I'm not going to make a cliche out of this, but it's like, what if Steve Jobs had worked for Atari for the rest of his life? What would have happened then? Right? It's like, we don't know what Atari would have been, but it's like, but he took a chance on himself and he started, Apple. So to not take a chance on yourself is doing yourself as a person a disservice. And what I mean by that is, you don't have enough belief in yourself to even take a chance on yourself. It sounds very weird, but that's my way of looking at things. And that's what I would say to you guys or anybody else. Yeah.
It's totally clear. I mean, if you believe in yourself, just take the first step.
Yeah, that's
it. Clear.
And that's it. Yeah, you owe that to yourself. That's what I would say. You would owe that to yourself as a person. Yeah.
And can I ask, are you currently settled in the one place, or are you traveling about a lot with work, or what? What's your situation like geographically?
Yeah. Well, I usually travel to Vancouver, Canada. That's where I live for about four months of the year, and then I spend 4 months in Asia, which is in the winter, and then I spend about 4 months either in Europe or South America. So that depends. I mean, even in Africa, I was in Africa for 3 months last year, and that was excellent. So I was living in South Africa in Cape Town, and then me and my friends went, like I told you, we went to see the national parks there, and a part of our commitment to as a watch company or as a company is to give back to save the elephants in Africa. So we donate quite extensively there because we saw poached elephants and poached rhinos there. So that's one of the things I truly believe in, that we have to have succession to leave these species for the next generation to see.
Brilliant.
So I think it's important to run a business, but it's important to have that social aspect as well. For me, it was wildlife.
I love that. I love the vision. And you get a lot of that here as well in Merida, actually, or not in Mexico rather. We were on a little trip into an actual jungle for the first time yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Ran into snakes, tarantulas, monkeys, you name it. It was.
Can you go diving there? You should go diving there, man, if you can.
Oh, we get the chance. Yeah, hopefully we will. But you know this aspect of traveling, was this something that you always wanted to be part of your life, or was this just a natural step forward after creating a successful online business?
You know what, man? That's something is a credit to what my parents were. So when I was growing up, my father was in the army in India. So we had to move as children every 2 to 3 years. So every 2 3 years, I would, our whole environment would change. So we were put in a different place, different kids, different environment. So as an adult, if I were to stay in one place for more than 2 years, even as a job, I feel very uncomfortable. So like for me, like traveling is the next best thing that happens to me. So now instead of 2 years and getting uneasy, it's 3 months for me and I get super uneasy. So I need to change of environment every 3 months. And when I change my environment, I get creatively a lot better. It's I think a change of environment helps a person think very strategically, very creatively, and very you don't have any you have a free rein on your thoughts. And having that aspect, I think, is better for your business. And that's worked for me. I don't know how it would work for you or anything else. I think change of environment and change of scenery is quite important.
I agree with you big time on
I
that
cannot
one.
be more agree with you. Same. I mean, I used to travel a lot, but when I see him traveling, I see him a big difference. Since I meet him, and 3 years after, I said, "Wow, that's my husband."
Yeah.
You get lots,
I know, man. It's different,
That's
right?
crazy.
It's like if you have a chance to change your environment more, I won't say like there's people who travel every weekend to change city. That's crazy. I mean, 3 months, one place, you're good. You get to see the local culture. You get to take part in the local restaurant scene, local food, local wine, all that, and then you just move on, right? It's like so. For me, I have 3 or 4 bases that I usually go, like Cape Town, Bangkok, Vancouver, maybe Berlin, because I really like Berlin. So yeah, so that's where I would usually be around the world because I know all the places there. I can go play. For me, squash is very important, so I go play squash there. But these are all places where I can go find squash games and all that other stuff. So it's interesting. Yeah.
Brilliant. And
what are your plans now? How long are you there for in Mexico?
Actually, 1 month.
Yes, we've been so far here 1 month, but we think we're probably going to extend it rather to about 2 or 3 months.
That's good, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, just build strong foundations, build the show up. That's kind of our goal here,
I'll be there in February. So if I'm there, I'll give you guys a shout.
Yeah. Oh, you come in February here?
Yeah, I'll come.
That's so cool.
I have to go for a conference in Texas and I'll come down to Mexico. I'll give you guys a shout.
Yeah, if you are here, oh my God, it would be amazing to share food with you, definitely.
Yeah, as you know, I do like my food.
Love it.
Okay, the last question, I think it will be, if you have one advice to give to the young people like us, look at that. Thank you. Who want to start a business while traveling, I mean, what will be the first advice? The essential one. The most important one. Thank you.
The most essential one is don't give up. What a lot of people do is they tend to give up in the first month, first 30 days, first 60 days because they don't know where they're going to go. So I think to grow a very thick skin and to have that aspect of saying never given, right, is very, very, very important. And what I mean by that is people, life is always going to throw you curveballs. But whatever happens in the face of adversity, never ever give it. Just keep powering through. So that's the one piece of advice.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's beautiful advice, really.
You're a really good personage. I mean, I like the way you think. I like your positive energy. Even if you're not there, I can feel that.
For sure.
You encourage us to do it. Just don't give up, guys.
Well, yeah, man, you can't do it. It's like you guys. Like don't let life dictate. Some people are just like, we'll see how life takes us. But no, you make your destiny. Nobody else is going to make it for you, right? So that's what I recommend.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Cool. All right.
Ronnie, thank you so much for your time.
I have to run for another.
Oh, pardon. Sorry.
I have to catch a flight soon, so.
Yes.
Thanks, Ronnie.
Bye-bye.
Adios.
We hope Ronnie's story inspires you to be bold and live an adventurous life. For more in travel and entrepreneurship, please consider to subscribe.
It's hella hot here in Merida, I'll tell you that much. What we've done though is put together a short PDF, a 1-pager, for you covering all the tools we've discussed in this show so you can kick off your own e-commerce business tomorrow and hopefully one day be bold and live the adventurous life you deserve.
Like Ronnie. Adios. Thanks a lot, Ronnie. Thanks a lot.
Thank
for your
you.
time.
Bye-bye.
We hope Ronnie's stories inspire you. Stories.
Thanks, Ronnie. Bye-bye.
We hope Ronnie's story inspires you to be bold and live an adventurous life. If you want to know more about
For more. Thanks, Ronnie.
Bye-bye.
Adios.